I think there's a big fear of using AI just because you don't know how to approach it and you don't know what type of problems you can ask it and what's really capable of. And so we see that if you want to integrate AI in your workflow, really what you should start with is just using AI the same way you would Google something. Type it into the AI, see what the AI comes out. We talked about reasoning. It's typically very good at breaking down into multiple steps and see if that got you already as an unlock, a time saving benefit. And then from there, make yourself familiar with the various types of styles that the AI can provide you with. For instance, writing code, being creative. There are different AIs out there that are very good at that. And so you need to figure out which is the best one for that use case that fits the best so you can be really productive. There's not one size fits all. That's why we have on our platform all AI is available for you. But the biggest unlock really and the biggest misconception that I see when I work with smaller and bigger companies is that they're just shying away from starting to throw at the problem AI first. Most of the time they really go and they build something and then just want to have the AI review it. But you should flip this. You should actually do it the other way around. AI is great in coming up with something. Doesn't matter if it's hallucinated or not to that extent. And then the human just takes a couple of seconds to review it. Whereas it takes the human sometimes hours or days to come up with it in the first place. I do think they struggle more because of the regulation and requirements that they do have and has to pass through multiple committees and boards. There's also giving a specific size, some other like from government and federal regulations that you have to do. So that's a typical, I would say, innovator dilemma that we see in the markets as well. Smaller companies, however, they are faster to innovate and to adapt these new type of technologies. So I typically see them struggling less. The best comparison is like when you work with this bigger companies, they have old processes in there and typically AI is there to disrupt these processes. And disruption as a creature of habit is not a good thing. And so you do not want to disrupt your like given work. And it gives you a sort of comfort as well. And the AI is like playing with that fear a little bit. And smaller companies, they do not have that level of comfort or that fear, so they can way faster adapt to it. And then the other part, by the way, is that field is moving so fast that once you replace one old workflow or process with the new one, suddenly there's another AI out there already that overruled that one. And so you're constantly playing catch up in a way in a big organization where it takes forever to implement these processes. That can be a bottleneck in itself. Yeah, but those are some of the things there. So in insurance, for instance, so in financial services, you have multiple insurance providers. We're working with a bigger insurance company. They have their own insurance policies. They take on new clients, and it takes their team typically a week to compare and go through all the vast majority of policies and the regulations that are happening there to make a comparison along this is what we offer, this is what you currently have, this is why we are better, and so forth. All of that can be automated to previous questions that were answered where AI just has an advantage in that because it's great in going through the majority of data here in such a quick time. And then it is really taking down the work from a worker from 1 week to just an hour or so. And then there comes this aspect of now the AI came up with something. I, as a specialist, still use that data and review it and make sure that it actually is accurate before I actually then further process it. And that gets us immediately to the point is this is a worker that is specialized and knows how to use AI to take something from a week down to an hour. And that helps in the current economy as well. It's really hard to find these specialized workers. Onboarding takes them a long time. So you can use your existing workforce, but by making them just more productive. So you don't have to fear about your job. It's actually like we can't hire enough specialized people to do that type of job, and AI comes to the rescue. It needs to be a vetted process, particularly when you work with enterprises. So you do not want to just unleash a product that is not like fitting your quality bar. We're seeing that in the open source world, for instance, that Meta says the new Llama 3.2 models are not allowed in Europe just because of regulation purposes as well. The same thing applies here for you and your specialized model. If there's tomorrow a new AI that comes out, you do not just want to have your entire workforce essentially use that on production data. And that's why when we are adding new models to our platform, we make sure that they fit up our quality and standards. that it's tested, that the data that they have been using is living up to all of the privacy and data policy and processing standards that we have in place. So you can be sure as an enterprise that the data, the AI that we use here is really okay to use for enterprise use workloads.